Okay, here's a thought experiment for you. What if, right now, for just 5 seconds, every single atom of oxygen on planet Earth just vanished?
Now, I know what you're thinking. Big deal, right? I can hold my breath for way longer than 5 seconds, maybe 30, maybe even a minute if I really try.
So 5 seconds without the stuff we breathe. That should be a total non-event. A minor inconvenience at worst, right?
Oh, so wrong. Utterly, catastrophically wrong. Because this has almost nothing to do with breathing. It's all about bonding. And when those bonds break, well, everything breaks with them.
You see, we've been thinking about oxygen all wrong. Yeah, we breathe it, but that's not its most important job. It's the fundamental chemical binder, the atomic glue that holds our entire world together. You take it away, and reality starts to unravel. And it happens incredibly, terrifyingly fast.
So let's start the clock. In the very first second, before you even realize you can't breathe, your entire perception of the world just shatters.
Instantly, 21% of our atmosphere is just gone. That causes the air pressure around you to drop catastrophically. It's like being teleported from sea level to 2,000 meters up in the blink of an eye.
Your body has absolutely no time to adjust. The air trapped inside your ears expands violently outwards. And the result? The eardrum of every single person on Earth ruptures at the exact same moment. A silent, searing wave of pain just washes over the entire globe.
But as you're clutching your ears, you'd notice something else is terribly wrong. The sky. You know, our familiar blue sky. That's a product of something called Rayleigh scattering. It's just sunlight hitting oxygen and other particles, scattering the blue light all over the place.
Well, with a huge chunk of those scattering particles suddenly gone, the very mechanism that paints our sky blue just switches off, like a light. The sky would instantly flash from blue to a pitch-black void. The sun is no longer a warm yellow orb. It's a blindingly white, unfiltered star hanging in the darkness. And speaking of unfiltered, the ozone layer? That's just 3 oxygen atoms bonded together. So, poof, it's gone too. Everything and everyone under the sun is now getting hit with the full, brutal force of raw UV radiation. We're talking severe, instant sunburn.
Okay, 1 second has passed. You're deaf, in agony, and being cooked by the sun in total darkness. And in the very next second, your world literally dissolves around you.
Just think about our civilization for a second. It's built on concrete. But concrete isn't just a pile of rocks and sand. It's a complex chemical structure, and it's held together by powerful oxygen bonds. Oxygen is the silent, essential binder in every single skyscraper, bridge, and dam on the planet.
Without oxygen, those bonds just fail, all at once. But here's the crazy part. Concrete structures don't just fall over. They lose all their integrity at a molecular level. They disintegrate. The world's cities would instantly collapse into these vast, rolling clouds of dust and sand. At the exact same moment, something equally bizarre is happening to every piece of untreated metal. Say, normally, there's a super thin, invisible layer of oxidation on metal that keeps different pieces from fusing together. Without oxygen, that protective layer is just gone.
So any 2 pieces of metal touching each other will instantly and permanently fuse together. It's a process called cold welding. Pistons weld themselves to cylinders. Gears weld into solid, useless blocks. Every single internal combustion engine on the planet seizes. All machinery grinds to a permanent, silent halt.
So we've lost our hearing, our sky, our cities, and all our machines. But the catastrophe is only getting bigger. Now we lose our oceans and the very ground beneath our feet. Let's talk about water, H2O. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. You take away the O, and you're just left with pure hydrogen gas. And what happens when a liquid instantly turns into a gas? It expands, violently. The world's oceans don't just boil or evaporate, they detonate. They expand in this massive volumetric explosion, turning into a colossal cloud of hydrogen gas that just erupts into our already broken atmosphere. But the horror is not over, not even close. The solid ground we're all standing on, the Earth's crust, is nearly half oxygen by mass. It's a key ingredient in pretty much all rocks and soil. Without that oxygen, the crust loses almost half its mass and all of its structural integrity. It stops being solid rock and just becomes a crumbling, unbonded powder of silicon, aluminum, and other metals. The ground beneath your feet vanishes. Everything and everyone is now in a free fall toward the center of the planet, tumbling through a cloud of metallic dust.
Let's just recap this absolute insanity. In 4 seconds, we've gone from a totally normal day to a silent, dark, collapsing world where the oceans have become a giant gas bomb and the very ground has turned to dust. The 5th second is about to tick over.
And just like that, the 5 seconds are up. The oxygen snaps back into existence. Everything should go back to normal now, right? Maybe a chance for some survivors? No. What happens next is the real end of everything.
Because oxygen isn't just coming back to a damaged world. It's returning to a world that has been perfectly prepared for a planetary-scale inferno.
Think about it. The returning oxygen floods an atmosphere that's now saturated with pure, highly flammable hydrogen gas from what used to be our oceans. At the same time, it hits trillions of tons of fine, reactive metallic dust from the disintegrated crust. You have oxygen, you have fuel, and you have an ignition source, that unfiltered, brutal heat from the sun. It triggers the single largest chemical reaction possible, a global, planet-spanning firestorm. The hydrogen atmosphere ignites, turning the entire surface of the Earth into one single massive explosion that reforms the oceans in a web of fire and steam, sterilizing everything in its path.
So the next time you take a breath, just remember what you're really doing. You're not just taking in air. You're participating in the fundamental chemical bond that holds reality together. Oxygen, it turns out, isn't just the air we breathe. It's the rock we stand on, the water in our seas. It is the very world we inhabit.